Your church could make a better, greater, more significant impact in your community if more people just knew you existed. What could change if instead of being the best kept secret, you were such through the power of God in Christ, in Him, were such a tour de force in your community, such an impactful organization that you would be deemed too big to fail? We ask the question oftentimes in the church space, uh, if you closed your doors tomorrow, would anyone notice? I want to flip that around and say your churches are open, your church's doors are open right now. Who is noticing? What if you could flip that script and make it so your church is such a cornerstone in your community that if there was any risk to you closing your doors and ending all ministries, that even the people that spew hatred out of their mouths towards you and against Jesus Christ, my iPad just fell. What if they would say, no, this place, despite how much I hate it, needs to be here? That's what we're going to talk about today. Why does your church need to be the best known? Why does your church need to be such an impactful organization in your community that even those that hate you would hate to see you close your doors because they hate that they have to admit that you're making such a great impact? That's what we're going to talk about today. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Best Known Church Show, where we show you how to 10x your reach with church marketing that will help you increase your impact, make more disciples, and become the cornerstone of your community again. This is for the leaders with an outrageous vision, because anything less would be an inaccurate reflection of our Creator. The ones who have unreasonable faith, because you know God works unreasonable miracles. And the ones who are relentless in the pursuit of your calling, because anything less would not make a good and faithful servant. If that's you, you're in the right place. Now, please welcome your host and guide on this journey to become the best known organization in your community, Justin Nava.
Welcome to the Best Known Church Show. If we haven't met before, my name is Justin Nava, and I take full responsibility for you not knowing me. I'm glad we're here. And like I said, today I want to flip the script. A friend of mine, Brady Sticker, shout out, Church Candy, posted on Facebook and was like, you being the best kept secret in town is not the flex that you think it is. And it isn't. He's right. Although many of the pastors that I talk to view that as a curse, so to speak, than a bragging right. But I could see some pastors feeling like, oh, well, nobody knows us. And that's a good thing because we're on mission. We're on the gospel. First of all, especially on months like this, it is not something to be proud of to be unknown. You're basically saying that you're happy being comfortable because with awareness, with lack of a better word, popularity, comes a spotlight, comes hate, comes more opportunity to be hated on, so to speak. And so what I want to talk about today is flipping that script. And pardon me while I sneeze real quick. There we go. Much better. Part of that is going to come from your being best known, is flipping the script on this false humility that many churches have. And if you're watching this live, thank you so much for watching it. Whether you're watching it, we are on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube. I forgot to share it to my personal Facebook, YouTube Live, or now I'm broadcasting on X, which I'm very excited to be on. I love Twitter. I love X. I don't love it so much anymore now that because of the latest announcement they had with adult content being on Twitter. I don't like that. Thankfully, I don't get to see that side of Twitter. I'm not in that corner, I guess, but not the best way to make people want to stay on your platform. But anyways, shout out if you're watching there, like, subscribe, post a comment, ask your question, say, hey, Justin, this is stupid. Or, hey, Justin, how do we become better known? How do we stop being the best kept secret? I'm also still experimenting with StreamYard, so I appreciate y'all being patient if I click a wrong button, or it looks like my camera jumps every once in a while. Still working on fixing that. But I'm very happy with the strides we're taking here. Look, when I say too big to fail, I am talking about being such an organizational mainstay, such a community mainstay as an organization of your church, which is a branch of your mission, by the way. This is not for the purpose of keeping your job, raising your job, replacing your job. This is not an entrepreneurial venture. This is a mission-driven calling that we have no choice but to say, here I am, send me. No choice but to say, why me? And when we hear God say something like, hey, who gave you that mouth that you stutter with? I did. Now you're going to go and do what I call you to do. And you're going to go and change lives and impact and help me build this kingdom for whatever reason God has called us to co-author this redemption story with him. What if we, instead of saying, okay, great, we'll do that just within our circle. Okay, I'll go and serve you, God, from the comfort of the people that I'm happy to accept, the comfort of just the people that I think won't raise too much of a stink if they know me. What if instead we flipped that script and we had outrageous thinking to match the outrageous vision that God gives us? And we said, let's go be known from corner to corner of our city, of our community, of our neighborhood. Many of our churches are called to simply be neighborhood churches, and that is their kingdom impact. That is no less of a meaningful calling than a larger church that's meant to impact a city. Okay. Everyone is gifted uniquely. And for some of us, the greatest thing we can do for the kingdom is lead our small congregation. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I think there is something wrong if God's calling you to lead a small congregation and to lead 50 or 100 people, or even less than that. And you say, you have these visions of grandeur and say, no, I'm going to do more. And that's the enemy leading you out of your calling and into vanity. These aren't the churches that are listening to this show. The churches that I'm talking to understand that when I say be the best known in your community, I'm not talking about your entire city, the greater Houston area of 6 million people, or the entire Brooklyn area of however many people are there. Maybe your calling is to be the best known in your community between the section of 5 blocks where 80,000 people can live in an urban area. Maybe it's in your small rural town of 15,000 where your community is those maybe 13,000, because the other 2,000 aren't even on the radar for you to be able to serve. Or maybe they're effectively being served by another church, and there's nothing wrong with that. When I say you need to be too big to fail, I'm talking about in your community, in your city. They look at you as such an institution that it would be catastrophic if you closed your doors. I completely disagree with the bailouts of 2008, but I cannot disagree with the reason behind them, meaning I can empathize. I should rephrase that. I can empathize with the reason behind it while still disagreeing with it, that the government officials felt that it would be such an apocalyptic catastrophe if JP Morgan Chase, if General Motors, if AIG, if these Wall Street lenders went out of business, shut down, our economy would be crushed, millions would die. I disagree. Let the market do what it wants, but I can empathize with they thought they were doing the best thing. And it was totally wrong, but I can empathize with it. So whether you disagree or agree, they had the impression that these organizations were too big to fail. So they had to do whatever it takes, including wasting our money on getting these people out of trouble. So they're going to rescue them by any means necessary. Now, what if your community, and this is for the right reason, felt that if your church is in danger, they're going to do whatever it takes to see you through that danger, to rescue you, to have your back, to say, even though we don't say eye to eye, even though I don't go to your church, you are such an important part of our community that we're going to make sure that you don't go under. And it needs to be from a kingdom approach, not just, oh, we like the clothes and food you donate to the community, so we're going to donate so you keep that mission organization open. No, I'm saying we have impacting change lives in our community. And so we're going to make sure that you stay open. We often ask the question, I mentioned it in the intro, if our church closed our doors tomorrow, would anyone notice? Well, they're not going to notice just by happenstance. Okay. Because like I mentioned earlier, and like you'll hear me saying often, I need to make a shirt about this. I feel real short on the camera. Let me see if I can adjust this real quick. it doesn't just happen. And I mentioned this earlier. God, for some reason, calls us to co-author his redemption story with him. All right. Um, and so the way that I look at it is like a sailboat. And Nelson seriously says this off. I quote him often on this because I love the illustration. Um, we're on a boat, and God is the wind that blows, and we are the ones that set the sail. Okay. There are different ways to set different sails to go in different directions, but we lean on the wind to blow, meaning we lean on God to move, and we are there to be the workers that are harvesting the fruit, so to speak. And so if we put in the work to become the best known, guess what? There's your answer, or at least there's the roadmap to get to that point where if you did close your doors tomorrow, people would notice. And that's really what pastors and church leaders have to wrestle with, is this dichotomy of, well, do we want to make sure that we're humble? Do we want to make sure that we're not haughty or prideful? Because we know a certain month that is all about pride, and it is all about sin and debauchery and things that are not of God. And instead, we go the complete opposite direction and say, well, we're going to be super holy and we're going to be unknown. We're going to be humble. We're just going to receive the people that God happens to send us. Well, guess what? That's going to be more Christians unless we do the work to go out and make disciples, to put in the work, to be known. So when, we're going to talk about this later, when someone feels that pull of God, when they feel that wind blowing, it is our sails that catch them so they can hear the gospel through our lips, the genuine gospel, not the false gospel that is preached by other boats raising their sails, being blown by another wind that ain't God. So why is it a problem then if our church is unknown, unseen, unheard of? And if you're still watching the show, I commend you because you're like, yeah, this is a problem. A lot of pastors right now, and I don't blame them because it's uncomfortable, would say, no, we're not here for popularity. We're not here for fame. I'm not here for fame either. I'm here to make Jesus famous. The best way I know how to do that is to make sure that you show the love of Christ and you're known for that love of Christ. Otherwise, you're seen and forgotten. You're like a man that looks in the mirror and then walks away and forget what he looks like. People are seeing your church move in the community, through heal people, feed people, clothe people, share the gospel, and they walk away and forget about you. I don't want that to happen to your church because here's the problems that come along with that. Number one, you're going to have community disconnection, meaning if they don't know you, they cannot go to you. If they don't know you, they won't pay attention to you. What does that mean? You're going to live in a bubble. A bubble isn't something we just blow up ourselves. It's something we allow happen. It's a consequence of that we allow to happen when we just do work without making sure we go outside of our comfort zone, outside of our bounds. And it is a careful balance. I completely understand that. When you want to feed, say, 100 people, and then you think, if we don't do anything, we'll get the same 100 people next month. But if we promote this, we could get 110 people next month. We could get 110 plus a donor to allow us to feed another 100, and then we promote that again. And then you run the risk of, well, are we promoting a mission, community service, or are we promoting the gospel? And the answer is both. You promote the community service so that when they come to you, you can share the gospel. And this is where a lot of churches drop the ball. They become nonprofit organizations rather than kingdom-minded organizations. So everything I do, everything I tell you, when I say you should no longer be disconnected from the community, it's not for fame and popularity. It's to open up more doors for you to make disciples, for you to share the gospel, the good news, so they'll pay attention to you and not hear you, be fed by you, and walk away and go back to their old lives. These are opportunities for you to call them to repent and to see what Jesus has done for them and to join your community and continue to grow the kingdom and be disciples who make disciples. But you can't do that if they stay connected with you. If they don't know you, they can't go to you. This applies to your Sunday services, your small groups, your events, your communities. We love promoting VBS, But guess what? If your church only promotes VBS, if you only promote Christmas, if you only promote Easter, that tells the community you only care about them in the summer, during Christmas, and during Easter. If you only promote your church on Giving Tuesday in November, guess what message that sends the community? But if you intentionally promote your church to get your church in front of people, to plant yourselves in their minds to where they feel cared about 24/7. They know that your church is there for them, even if they're not ready to take a next step, even if they still got scales on their eyes. They'll still know you're there when those scales get removed. And we'll talk about it again later. I hate when people are like, but let's talk about this first. But I want to make sure you understand this, that there are 3 levels of awareness for your church, and you have to be the best known at every level. There is a church that is best known at every level, and you have to be known at every level. Otherwise, you're going to have problem number 2, missed opportunities. You're going to keep missing out on people that are looking for churches, on people that are looking for answers, and on people that are just like even completely unaware that the church can solve their problem. Because when people think of loneliness, they don't automatically think of church like Christians do. All right. And if they do have that calling by God, if they do have that pull, and they're like, you know what? We just had our kid. Let's get him plugged into church. You know what? I'm tired of dealing with this. Maybe I need to find a church like my grandma's. If they go to Google, if they go to the Friends, if they go to their network, if they open up the phone book even, and they look at a list of church and they don't know who you are, they're going to be skeptical. They're going to be as skeptical of you as if you open up Google and you search churches in South Orlando. And you don't know any of these churches on first glance. But if you see a church that you've heard before, guess what? You're more likely to look at that church, to evaluate that church, and to judge that church based on its own merits rather than what you think every other church in that area is like. Which is problem number 3. If you are unknown, if you are and stay the best kept secret in your community, you will be judged based on other churches. Because I don't know who you are, I will assume you're like every other church. We do this all the time when we buy crap from the store. I need a photo frame. Well, this one will hold my photo for $10, and this one will hold my photo for $5. This one will hold my photo for $20. You can tell what I'm getting my dad for Father's Day. A picture frame of his granddaughter, soccer picture. And so they're all basically the same. That one looks a little bit nicer, but you know what? $5 is good. Flip that into the church world. If they don't know you, we need a word for it. If they don't know you from First Baptist, if they don't know you from Adam, if they don't know you from First Baptist, if they don't know you from UMC, then they're going to look at you on a shallow level, which means it doesn't matter what you preach. It doesn't matter how biblical you are. They're going to say, well, this church is only 30 minutes. This church has people that look like me. This church meets on Sunday night so I can sleep in on Sunday morning. And they'll make that decision rather than what's in it in a meaningful, kingdom-centric way for them. They're going to shop around based on shallow needs, which again is why I always say, like, your marketing is to get the gospel in front of people. And if not get in front of them, get them in front of you so you can share the gospel with them. But if your church just promotes, oh, we eat on Sundays at 11. We have free lunch afterwards. We got stuff for the kids. Guess what? When you actually put the gospel in front of you, they're in front of them. They're going to say, well, this isn't what I signed up for. I just wanted to sleep in, feel good about myself, and get some daycare. And feel good about the daycare that I'm putting them in because it's free because you're a church, right? So if they don't know you, they're going to assume you're like every other church, in which case the decision becomes easy. Which church is better for what I want, my shopping list, versus which is the one that cares about me the most, understands me the most, and is most significantly invested in my life. That's what it means when you're the unknown church. You're the least known. You're the best kept secret. You're disconnected from the community. You're missing opportunities every single day. And when you do get in front of people, they're going to meet you with skepticism rather than like leaning in to learning more. And so I teased this a little bit earlier. When it comes to being the best known in your community, when it comes to being such a mainstay in your community that you're too big to fail, people will fight to make sure you stay open. Even if you're a small church, it comes down into 3 phases of awareness. Okay? It comes down to who does someone know on a personal level? Who does someone's circle know? Who do their friends and family know? And who does Google know? Who does social media know? Let's say who does platforms know? WPK, who does the platform know? And it's 3 levels, plain and simple. Who do I know? If I feel God's call and I'm like, okay, I need to go to church, I'm initially going to start with the ones that I know. And if I only know bad churches, it becomes much easier to ignore that call, to push away from it, to put it off. And this is where the Calvinists tune out. It's much easier to just ignore that if I only know bad churches. So we need to do whatever it takes to plant our church in the minds of our community and say, when God calls you, this is the place to go. When you are lonely, this is the place to go. When you're hungry, this is the place to go. When you want to raise your kids in the right way, this is the place to go. When you want to improve your marriage, this is the place to go. When you want to fulfill your purpose, when you want to break addiction, when you need to be healed, when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, when you're sick of the habits that you know are destroying you, but you don't have the power to say no and you're looking for a higher power, this is the place to go. You need to plant yourselves in the mind of your community. Not only that, if you can't reach them, reach their network. So if I'm struggling with something, and I ask someone, dude, I am 1 month away from getting evicted. Well, I don't know if I can't help you, but this church might. Hey, dude, you look like you slept terribly. Yeah, man, I sleep on the couch. Ashley had me sleeping on the couch again. Can't make her happy. Well, this church I heard is having a men's retreat, and it's supposed to be all about like being a better man for your wife, or I don't know, maybe it's a marriage seminar. Y'all can, I don't know, it's whatever. Right. As you can see, as awkward, like that conversation wouldn't be as awkward 50 years ago. But nowadays we've become so isolated, which is the number one tool of the enemy, by the way, isolation. My opinion, but that's what I believe. That second stage of awareness, who does my friends know, friends and family, who does my circle know? That level is becoming smaller and smaller. Because also, as more and more people become addicted and become ashamed of those addictions, as much as we like to say we're proud of them, we don't share the need to want to overcome those addictions. And so we don't talk about those with our friends and family, so they can't really help us. If they know the church can help, they don't even know there's a problem to be helped. Which is why, and that's why I'm here, number 3 is, who do the platforms know? Who do the social media recommend? Who does Google recommend? Who does the algorithm recommend? Look, everyone knows the evils of the algorithm, but I believe in a God that's bigger than the evils of the algorithm. And I know for a fact that he's brought people to church to reveal himself to them through the algorithm. So instead of fighting it and instead of condemning it and running away saying we're better, so we'll be unknown to the algorithm, let's lean into it and use this to our advantage as a mission field to reach the people and do stuff like local search engine optimization. So when someone searches for a church, our church shows up. When someone searches for local kids events, our church's kids events show up. When even someone searches for divorce lawyers, our church's divorce counseling shows up. You see what I'm saying? Using these tools can help your church get in the minds of people so they can understand. And when they, God forbid, read a press release about like how, oh, this church is about to close, they'll say, no way. I love that church. They do such good work in the community. Where can I give? All right. We had $2 million, $200 million go to a president. How much more should people want to donate money to see life-changing, God-breathing, gospel-impacting, kingdom-building churches stay in their community? But we've relegated ourselves to the sideline and said, we're here if you need us. We don't fight in the culture war. We fight in the spiritual war. And we need to do whatever it takes to rise above the demons of this world using marketing and secular agendas and organizations to speak into the lives of our people, to give that life-saving message to them. Which means we need to be the best known organization in our community. I often say the best known church, this is the best known church show. We have the Facebook group, the best known church. Okay. But ideally, I want you to be the best known organization in your community. And you need to be best known for the right reasons. And that's where we come back to the mission of the church. You are there to make disciples who make disciples. You are there to glorify God by equipping the saints to go and make disciples. Whatever your mission statement is, that's not what you're going to be best known for. You're going to be best known for, like my friend Mark McDonald says, shout out. Okay, you're going to be best known for something. Well, actually, he says be known for something. I'm saying you need to be the best known for something. So I don't want you just to be known as the church that preaches the gospel. I don't want you just to be known as the church that feeds the people, the hungry in the community. I don't want you to be known as the church that has the best kids program. I want you to be the best known organization. So when someone thinks of kids programs, they think of your church. When someone thinks of loneliness, they think of your church. When I think I'm lonely, I think of the comic shop, or sorry, the game store down the street, because they have Saturday night board games. So I know if I'm like, man, I haven't hung out with anyone, I can go to the comic shop on Wednesdays. I can go to the game store on Saturday nights. I can go to church, but I don't know any of churches around here that's like, hey, we'd love to meet you. They say that, but when I show up, the only people that shake my hands and try to get to know me are the people that are assigned that duty. And if they're not on duty that week, I'm probably not going to shake their hands. I mean, just let's be honest. Okay. There is systematizing greeting, but there is also systematizing it at the expense of actually being a welcoming church. That's a different show, by the way. Okay. But you could be the best known organization for like, this is the place to go. Like if you want to have a tight knit support community, if you don't have any family in the area, that's the church to go to. And so it all comes back to the mission of the church, not for your own fame, not for your bottom line, not to increase your church budget, not to raise capital for your building. It's all about the mission of your church. How do you best carry out that mission? That's what you need to be the best known for. I've got a training that's available shortly. It's in a Facebook group. You can go to the Best Known Church on Facebook or click the link down below. I don't think I have a direct link to it yet. And in that training, it's all about how to become the best known in your community. It's go from unknown, from not even knowing how to make yourself known, all the way to being the most talked about of the town. Walking through this framework, and we just updated it, by the way, but walking through the old framework, we helped a church that baptized 50 youth, not 50 people, 50 youth before Easter, meaning in one quarter this year, baptizing 50 youth. That's what they were known. That's what they wanted to be known for, changing the lives of the youth so they don't have to suffer like their parents did. Another church is making such waves in the community that like people are like looking forward to the community events because that's where they can meet people that's where they can meet neighbors and actually have social experiences, and people look forward to those community events. That's what this is all about. That's what being the best known is about. So if you're watching this and you're like, yeah, that needs to be me. All right. First of all, like, subscribe, follow me wherever you are. Leave a review on Spotify if you want. But then also go check it. There's a link down below. Go to the Best Known Church Facebook group, and there's that training in there that's going to show you the step-by-step process that we do so you can do it yourself. Okay. And that training is free. I don't know how long I'll have it there, but it's free right now. Because your church needs to be the best known. If they don't know you, they cannot go to you. God bless you all. Thank you for watching. I will see you all next week.
That's going to do it for today's episode of the Best Known Church Show with Justin Nava. Be sure to subscribe to stay updated on the latest news, strategies, and resources that you need to reach 10x more people and become the best known in your community. To send us a message or leave a voicemail for Justin to be played on a future show, visit thebestknownchurchshow.com. And if you'd like to work with us so you can focus on your ministry, give us a call at 832-861-7654. Until next time, stay outrageous, unreasonable, and relentless.